Welcome to our next garden tour. We have beginning of July. It's about 5 weeks after we did the last one, and you will see a lot of changes. One of the main changes are our lilies are in bloom. They are just stunning. You see they're quite prominent in this bed now, so when they're done blooming I will probably split them up and separate them. But yeah, they are definitely at the moment the eye catcher in the garden. What else is also really pretty here? The rose has already bloomed out, but here my bee balm is in full motion and the pollinator love it. It looks to me always like a pineapple with a bad hair day. But yeah, it's a really nice one. I really love this one. I would love to cut this also for cut flowers, but in this bed it's more for ornamental purposes, but I'll definitely have that eventually in my perennial cut flower garden. Let me show you two containers I haven't showed you last time around because it wasn't so interesting yet. But those are the two containers with which I want to get a little bit greenery up the deck. And yeah, they are going wild. My cucumber melons, not behaving themselves well, not fully understanding that they're supposed to go up, but most of them are finally going up. And next to it is the loofah. I'm growing it for the first time. And yeah, let's see if we have some sponges at the end of the garden season. So far it looks happy. We had to fence it in as well because of the groundhog bunnies, whatever. But yeah, it's reaching up. It looks healthy, so we'll see if we have some sponges later. And as you know, I always promise you to show you also the not so pretty things. My lavender is already quite bloomed out and floppy this day. What I probably do in the next few days is to really give it another rather drastic haircut. But as long as the bumblebees still have a little bit of fun over there, I usually let them go. And yeah, so that bed is a little bit in a turnover, which is fine. Let's go to the real garden. Speaking of turnover, this looks also very different than what we've seen last time around. Actually, I just yesterday pulled out the peas to give the squashes and the cucumbers in the bed a chance. They were still a little bit producing, but when it comes to gardening, you got to know when it's time to flip things around, even though they were still a little bit producing to the benefit of the succession crop. So in this case here, I actually found already cucumber in this bed, so it was a good moment in time. They look a lot more happy now with all the light and airflow, and let's hope that no groundhog or bunny finds its way in it again. Then we might have a chance to see something in this bed later. Speaking of seeing something, in our lettuce bar, which I have at the moment fully shade covered because we have warm days, everything looks really great. It works quite well. This is all the Row 7 Tegan salad, which doesn't have an issue with the hot temperatures. And also here the Green Crisp Salanova from Johnny's looks still fine, although this one starts to look a little bit like it wants to bolt. Yeah, the onions over here, they are not so happy with the shade class, but that's fine. Those are just overflow onions, which I had left over from the bed, from the real onion bed. So all fine and good, but we have finally lettuce again to eat. And then let's go to the fun sections. Tomato sauce is loading. We have some really happy, some really healthy tomatoes going on here. So those 3 tomato plants are my indeterminate tomatoes, and they are packed. They are leaning a little bit more in this way than I usually like it, and I planted the peppers a little bit too deep in than I usually like it, but it's whatever. So the peppers are not getting as much light as they usually do, but it's all right. The tomatoes are really packed here. The Mountain Magic is a new to me one, but this one is has clusters on clusters on clusters. And yeah, that is also the one which I have a little bit trouble to keep contained to the lower and lean system, but it's all right. I'm really excited, and all of the other plants are really heavily producing, so I'm super excited. There's already one sun gold, which I probably can pick in a day or two, but it's really nice. And here the other ones, the ones in the cages, we have 3 determinate tomatoes, so paste tomato varieties in here, and my Midnight Roma is looking fantastic. that is just pooped on from the birds on the trellis. But other than that, it's perfectly healthy and producing a lot as well as the patchwork peppers. Yeah, please ignore the bird poop. Look at those pretty ones. Aren't those gorgeous? We have a bunch of them already on this one, so this is really, really great. Yeah, when we swivel around, we have the monster over here. So those are just 2 center cut squash and 2 cucumbers, which were supposed to be bush varieties, but are also now vining for some reason, and a bunch of pole beans. But yeah, I put some footage into the video of how it looked in the last video, just for reference how crazy it is, but I created a monster. I may or may not have counted 25 center cut squashes already on it, and you can already see there are already a few ones which we gotta harvest soon. But the beans are also loading, so everything is coming on here nicely. But yeah, note to myself, 1 is truly enough next year. Yeah. When we look here on this side, this is the other tomato alley. So we have here in the front the 3 cherry tomatoes, which are also coming in. We have here a super sweet 100 loading, and over there is already a sun gold, which I'll probably pick tomorrow or so. That is a leaf which I gotta get rid of, but those look really, really great. And behind it, we have some really nice looking paste tomatoes as well, and some jalapenos, which are also going wild. So all of this looks fantastic. I can't wait to start harvesting very, very soon. So this bed looks also very different than what we saw last, because I just harvested a couple days ago our garlic here, and you can see how nice the onions bulbed up. So we have a few monsters over here, and are doing really, really well. They're most likely going to be harvested in probably like 3 to 4 weeks from now. When you know how to harvest them is when they start like flopping. So we'll see about that. And in this empty bed, I will succession plant some edamame soon. So I gotta find those seeds. A little bit of chaos going on in my seed storage right now, but once I found those seeds, that is going to be in here. And now let's move on to the flowers, which look so, so great. So I think this is, next to the squash side, this is probably the area where you will see the most change. We have yarrow blooming here. Our feverfew is almost done. I got a deadhead, the feverfew, so it can grow here a little bit further. But the lisianthus will be probably bloomed out for the next video. The snapdragons have been cut back already hard, so they are in their second succession already. And then we have here a lot of mingled stuff, some more snapdragons, but the status is coming in. I have a few really, really pretty asters from my friend Steph from Hooked and Rooted Garden. I got the seedlings, which are really, really pretty. And then all of my ornamental basil. Remember in the last video when I said I wasn't fully bought into that dark basil yet? I am now. I tend to use that one at the moment the most. For one, the bug which destroys the foliage is not so drawn to this dark foliage, or if it does, you can't see it as much as on the green one. But it also like turned into such a beautiful color, and I love the flowers which are coming on here. It's such a nice color, and it goes really, really well with all my other colors. So we'll probably have a little bit more of that one next year. And then here all my other basil looks shorter, only because I had to hack it back hard because of this four-lined bug destroying the foliage. It doesn't do anything else to the plant, like it's not like killing the plant or so, it just makes it super ugly. But it's usually just around for like 2-3 weeks, and then it's done trying to reproduce itself, and then you can move on with that. What is also very different is we have a lot of zinnias in bloom now, like with a lot, wait until you see the floret ones. But those are here my classic zinnias. So the green lime green, which I love to just use as a normal filler because it's like just, it goes with anything, right? And then my heart when it comes to the zinnia is the Queen Lime Blush. This is just my forever favorite. It's just so beautiful with this green and this blushy in the middle. Goes also with pretty much everything. When we go here to the Cosmos, they turned into a wild bush as well. And would you believe those come all out of one mix? So if you want to get a lot of like Cosmos bang for your buck in terms of color variation. So you see here, that is a full white, that is a blushy white. That is a really massive pink one. And I have some more like light pink over there. This is the double click pink blush mix from Johnny. Look it up. Can put that also down in the description, but it's beautiful. It's like one seed packet and you have a really nice variety of Cosmos here, which again goes with most of my colors in the garden. And now let's move forward to the floret varieties. Number one, they are the tallest zinnias compared to the other zinnias. They grow really well. A few of the first blooms didn't look the greatest, but you have that sometimes with zinnias. They need like a couple blooms to really like start to shine. It's sometimes also the same with dahlias. They just need a little bit of time to mature and produce pretty blooms. But I love it. I love that they're all like those muted colors and they are large. Those are over here the golden hour. So those are all like the peachy colors over here. And I have a few which are unfortunately munched on by bugs, but it's just the way it is in July over here. And then we have here a sections with the Victorian wedding. Those are all the small little cuties. Super sweet. And yes, I only left them on for you guys to see in the garden tour. They get all cut down for bouquets tomorrow when we're done here. This here is a section of Alpenglow. Those are like normal sized ones, but they have like this beautiful glow to it. There's really nice shiny color. And the ones which are just start to come in, but they're also massively big, are the precious metals. So I'm really excited. So a few ones are chomped off, so we're not showing those ones, but this is a really pretty one, although that is chomped on as well. But yeah, I'm really excited to see those ones. Those are the biggest blooms, so they just took a while to get here. But I'm so happy to see them finally and start working with them in bouquets. They'll literally go with any of my colors in the dahlia department. And speaking of the dahlia department, what we have over here are my new dahlias. They are coming in hot, most of them. A few are a little bit strangly, but I think for our next garden tour in probably 4 weeks, we should have blooms because I can see bloom stalks coming up. Speaking of, that should not grow through. All right, through the fence over here. So they are doing really well. I'm so excited to see those, and I really hope they produce nice tubers because I have only one variety, only one plant per variety. So fingers crossed for that. And then you can also see that I cut back my rose already. There are a few ones already. This is so vigorous. It just puts out new shoots non-stop. Don't look too close to the base foliage that is like eaten up. I got to treat that a little bit. But again, I'm all for simplicity this year, so it is what it is, but it's still like vigorously pushing out new growth and new blooms. So I'll try to stay on top of it as good as I can. But also here on the bottom, something what I really like is my white lavender. It's so beautiful, and it's a little bit more behaved than the purple lavender in the other beds. I really want to propagate and get some more plants of that, so we'll see if we have the time, the patience for this year. And then when we come over here, this is the main dahlia bed, and you can see here also they're all loading. What I got to get to in the next few days is to put up the netting up like I did it in the other bed. I haven't done this yet here, but I definitely need to. And yeah, there are a few in this corner. I'm not sure if that got waterlogged or so, because like when you know how we have heavy rainstorms, the water always comes from this slope in the garden and then stays over there a little bit longer than we want it to at times. So I have a feeling that a few of the dahlias got some wet feet, so they are not so happy in that corner over there. But we'll see. Luckily, we do not have so many rain showers anymore, but it should be all right. And it will be fine eventually. They started to grow again after the heavy rain showers, so I think they will be good. And this is my pride and joy. Those ones here are my seedlings. If you remember my pretty seedling from last year, I saved the tubers, and those are all those new plants I replanted from the tuber. Now I just hope that the bloom really comes back true to its size. The driveway garden has also changed quite a bit, and I gotta show you this cutie hydrangea quickly. I forgot the name, I really need to look it up. It's a tiny something from Proven Winners, which is actually not so tiny anymore. It's like 2 or 3 times bigger than I bought it last year. But yeah, everything is coming along well. The bunnies found, unfortunately, our raspberries here, as well as the birds found our blueberries, and the shrub is unfortunately too large to like put anything around it. So it is what it is. Again, I'm not fretting the small stuff this year, but all of the potatoes are coming along well. I know they start to look a little bit crappy, but that is normal. You want to have them go through the life cycle to really get the tubers and a nice size of tubers in the back. So they will look even more crappy in our next garden tour probably, but that is again intended. But what also seems to work is I snuck in here some watermelon and some cucumber and some squash plants, which is kind of ironic because nothing is fenced in here, and I have no intention to fence anything in. But the bunnies and the groundhogs really do not care about what's in here. And I have a feeling it's because it's like interplanted between herbs and, I don't know, calendula and stuff. So maybe something to take note of for next year to get a little bit more companion planting going. But yeah, and then otherwise my herb corner here needs a lot of love as well, because we need to hack that back. Somehow the sage got wild here, but other than that, it's looking really pretty, and we really need to preserve some of that as well. And then last but not least, I wanted to show you here my containers, which are all 100% homegrown. Funnily, was supposed to be coral, but you can let me know if you think that's coral. For me, it's red. But yeah, all of the geraniums, you remember me growing those ones and interplanted with blue spice basil and cinnamon basil. I really enjoy the setup. And that's what we have over here as well. It makes a really beautiful entrance here to the house. I hope this garden tour was interesting to you. This is progression of what we have seen before. So wait until 4 weeks from now, then we have dahlia blooming as well. And then it gets really pretty over here. I can't wait to have my bouquets everywhere again. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions or any questions regarding varieties. I always love to discuss anything with you in the comments. Otherwise, subscribe and watch another video. Thank you.